we see that a significant number of participants have joined us. Now I'm inviting you to respond you to the question, do you see the presentation front page? If you see me, if you hear me, as well as you see a blue uh, front page of the presentation material, please plus in the chat of the broadcast. If you don't have one of those, you don't see me, you don't hear me, or you don't have the blue presentation, please minus me. I understand that the plus, once again, if everything is working well, and minus is if one of those three components I mentioned are missing for you. We are seeing majority of pluses in the chat. Very happy to see that the platform is working well, which means that we would be able to go through the webinar properly. Dear participants, dear contestants, we are very happy to be welcoming you at the third webinar dedicated to the Sirius Master Plan development. My name is Sergei Georgievsky, the co-founder of the Agency for Strategic Development Center. I'm representing the moderating agency. Let us go to agenda. Our work will consist of the following part, the presentation section. That's when the experts on behalf of both the operator as well as the clients will demonstrate you the additional material, expectations, etc. In the second part, that will be a Q&A format. You'll be able to ask either in chat, and you can do that throughout and we will respond later, or you will raise your hands and you will be able to make questions vocally. There are simultaneous interpretations, so questions and answers either way will be interpreted. Once again, let me remind that throughout the presentation part, you are free to be noting the questions of interest to you. We would respond to you during the Q&A as well. Plus, remember that both the presentation as well as the recording of the webinar will be later available on the official website. Let me remind that the competition website has all the necessary information, and should you access SiriusMasterPlan.com, you would be able to download either Russian or English versions of materials, including the principal one is the booklet of the event. We are ready to move to the presentations, giving the floor to Anton Gusiev, Deputy Head of Talent and Success, Educational Foundation, Director of the Sirius University of Science and Technology, inviting him to speak about the concept of university Science City. Anton Sergeyevich, please. Good afternoon, dear participants of the contest. On behalf of the Talent and Success Educational Foundation, as well as Sirius University of Science and Technology, I'd like to express our gratitude for taking part in this webinar, showing interest in taking part in the competition. We do hope to see you contributing to the development. I'd like to speak about this federal territory, where it came about. It has started by the establishment of Sirius Educational Center for secondary students that have demonstrated their successes in sports, science, and arts. Back in 2015, the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, has made an unprecedented event to pass on the Olympic heritage, Olympic facilities to the needs, so to serve the needs of the development of the most talented kids of our country and all over the world. And since then, for the last 10 years, Sirius is now serving a ground, bringing together various secondary students to get training, to get another impetus for their personal development. to take their talents to even higher levels to get to greater results. You can understand that as of the moment, Sirius has 10 years of history, 10 years of experience, and that's an important uh, icon step for the development. We have covered quite a distance. At the moment, throughout, we have moved through the development of SciTech University at 2019, and I'll speak about that later. Then, in innovative SciTech Center, Sirius was established in 2019. Then, a federal Sirius federal territory was established. And speaking about this phenomena, as part of which is the competition that we're having today, that was established to give additional opportunities for education, science, and technology to serve not a specific territory only, but the needs of whole of the country. We can call this an experimental lab, a test ground in testing ground, as part of which we can test innovative approaches to education, to industry, to be able later to scale it throughout the country and share these experiences with others. To clarify some uh, projects to make these projects more easier for the implementation, Sirius Federal Territory has been given a special legal regime giving us the authority to be setting up various rules to streamline, to speed up the development. And back in 20, just like in 2015, Educational Center was started, and then SciTech University, and so is since 2020 now Sirius Federal Territory is working for the very same objective, but at a new scale, uh, for advancing all these developments in all these aspects and scaling them throughout the country, uh, developing further approaches. Of course, two pillars of serious development would be Sirius SciTech University as well as Sirius Innovative Scientific Technology Center, ISTC. But I would say that university has a special status because Sirius University is the first tenant of ISTC area. And thus, let us start speaking about university. The principal task of this university is to assure the leadership of Russia, and there is a document that is based on the document that was in the first draft was adopted in 2016, and later in 2019 has received further impetus in the second draft. It has objectives, and the document has a term includes a term important or large challenges, and these are the challenges that we are working on together with scientists, together with a university, and overall science and innovation interested minds, because the challenges that humanity is facing requires diversity of resources and diversity of uh, models and solutions engaged. The main approach that we are promoting, the model that we are promoting is science plus education, because it is very important that the scientific breakthroughs are then integrated into education. Thus, we are making sure that the leading scientists are then teaching this to university students, as well as the teachers are being engaged into advanced research. That kind of model is very important to be a developing population that will, a student body population that will be ready to engage in wider economic development. These are, of course, three priority areas are life sciences, sorry, four areas: life sciences, translation medicine, everything related to studying of life. And second dimension is information technology, artificial intelligence, and that would probably be well understood. We cannot imagine our current life without IT, and we understand that AI is becoming part and parcel of our daily life. Third dimension is cognitive research, interdisciplinary research, and the logic research, very much appropriate for education, for the development of our educational areas. So that's what we are doing here. And the fourth dimension is ecology and climate change, an interdisciplinary dimension that is on one side penetrating all aspects of science, on the other hand is concentrating on the most important challenges related true for our country and for the world. University is, as well as previously an educational center, education is receiving great attention. Most important factor here is that we are having a modern advanced infrastructure as well. Our secondary students that are attending, our university students, our postgraduate students are doing their research using the most advanced equipment that helps them to be developing their skills, their knowledge, and making a seamless transition into various economy sectors, becoming staff of science-intensive enterprises or developing their own businesses, companies, enterprises. One way or the other, as I said, from this is speaking about the staff body that is working on education, science, as well as infrastructure. It's all about innovation. The cornerstone of this project is currently a principal building of the university, which is a lab facilities. Of course, we are very much proud with our life sciences lab, one of the very best facilities that not just in the country, but I would dare say around the world, globally as well, that allows the development of various technologies for the implementation. At this very moment, we have launched first stage or around 10,000 square meters, and the second stage of this lab area will be completed by the end of 2025. This is a collective use area that can be used by scientists, postgraduate students, as well as Sirius ISTC center tenants. Next point that we are expecting to bring extra energy to this project is its campus, its dormitories, all the space that is contributing to the development of innovative educational environment that would be supporting the development of young students, postgraduate students, as well as young scientists. At the moment, first stage of the campus is being erected. Second stage will be developed in one of the innovative areas that we are intending to have planned, ideated as part of the competition that we are talking about today. And I would invite to speak my colleagues in more details about the tasks.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Let's move on to one of the pivotal topics, the topic, central topic forward contest, one of the clusters, one of the territories of the development, the medical component. And we have Dilara Medvedskaya with us, the Director General of the Sirius Medical Center. And we have a chance to know more how this medical clinical center will develop there, as well as the university clinics. Please, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, dear participants. Let me tell a few words about the medical center. Undoubtedly, this medical center is the core for this medical cluster that has will be quite big exposure later on. Medical center is developing as the place that will combine different tasks. The major task is to provide the medical services to both pediatric patients and to grown-ups. The second task that this medical clinic has is the educational center that will go for post-university training, for the postdoc, professional training and retraining, further training of the medical workers. The third task, the clinic should combine using the advanced technologies for diagnostics and treatment, as well as the research activities. And the fourth task number 4, which makes our clinic different from many other federal centers, is that the clinic will be considered as the productive center that will have the special section for producing the personalized biotechnological medications that will be used for treatment of the oncological patients with cancer. And what kind of the medical services will be provided in our center? First of all, the initial specialized medical treatment. So that's the polyclinics for the grown-ups and pediatrics clinics. So absolutely two different buildings, different facilities with the specific requirements that will be described in a technical assignment. The second type of the services is the specialized as well as the high-tech medical services for the inpatient patients with a capacity of 450 beds that will provide major medical areas. Taking into account this production factor, the clinic will be focused on provision of the oncological treatment. We're planning to have 120 beds focused on this oncology area that will have the all localizations. So as for the diagnostics capacity, we'll have these diagnostics wardens, lab diagnostics, functional diagnostics, X-ray diagnostics, endoscopy, ultrasound diagnostics, pathology-anatomic, as the surgical laboratories as well. We'll have the separate area for the rehabilitation in a number of areas, cardiovascular patients with a neurological profile, patient who suffered heart stroke, trauma area, and as well as the oncology patients that will move on to the next stage of rehabilitation. Rehabilitation will be of both from the inpatient level and will be continued as the outpatient and polyclinical services provided to the clients. The clinic will be working as an emergency medicine medical care clinics that will be providing services 24/7, 365 days a year. And it should have the helipad on its territory as the ambulance center as well. And I believe everyone who is listening to this competition nuances, you realize this territory of the Sochi is quite extended area, and it's very important to have this road connections as well as the helipad and helicopter station. The whole territory of Sirius is a territory of innovation, what Anton has already mentioned. On all the innovative areas of medicine, to be this or the other way represented in this medical center. And that's the artificial intelligence, and robotics in the medical sphere, and robotized surgery as a robotized rehabilitation, genome medicine, telemedicine, and all the mobile apps that allows to track the condition of the patients remotely, virtual and augmented reality technologies, implants and prosthetics solutions that could be used for the patients that receive the healing and recover at the modern delivery of the medications, 3D printing, genome therapy is one of the areas is the creation of new vaccines. In order to develop these technologies, it's very important to have certain technical requirements that will be quite will have a quite detailed description in medical technical assignment for this project. And I believe the implementation of these tasks will improve the provision of the medical care provided here, as well as the intensify the science development. Thank you very much. That's it, what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for your speech, and I'd like to give the floor to Kristina Raguzova, head of the Center of Organization and Specialized Programs of the Educational Center Sirius. Please, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, dear participants of our competition. I would like to shortly speak about a very important part of our competition as the second stage of our campus. That's true. As Anton has already mentioned, we have already started working on the campus for our students. Nonetheless,
но тем не менее это будет второй частью той большой работы, которую мы сейчас уже ведем. Вообще в научно-технологическом кампусе Сириус предполагается к проживанию 8050 человек. И вообще кампус университета для нас это не просто место для проживания студентов, это место активной творческой и научной коммуникации. Это место для комфортного отдыха с возможностью выполнения учебных задач. И 8050 человек – это достаточно нетривиальная задача для того, чтобы создать такие условия, которые как раз-таки отвечали бы тем вызовам, которыми мы перед собой ставим. Это развитие, это прорывы, которые мы ожидаем, собственно, от всей нашей федеральной территории. И из технических характеристик, которые мы закладываем во вторую очередь, мы ожидаем, что получится организовать 2600 мест для размещения студентов, аспирантов, молодых ученых с равными условиями для всех. То есть на данный момент при работе в первую очередь мы ведем
with the reconstruction. That's quite a complex procedure that makes us work in a very specific limited context, like planning of the space and buildings and facilities. And not all the students have these equal conditions for their accommodation that we're trying to fulfill. We're trying to make them as standard as possible. We'd like to have the most comfortable conditions for the accommodation with an equal level playing field for all the students. And we'd like to have the equally accessible conditions for all categories of the citizens and people that could stay there. So it should be an accessible environment, impediment-free. With all the comfort of the hospital-like complex, it should be designed for the long-term stay, work, and live. We want to create the comfortable conditions for life, which implies a high level of the hotel services. But along with that, we understand that hotel doesn't always have the long-term stay, and that's what we want to address. We'd like to combine it here. So it's very important for campus to have the places not only for accommodation, but also the number of the labs, not the production facilities that we mentioned in the first part of the presentation, but some spaces and environmental areas, the lab territories, whereas the students spending their time in a very comfortable conditions can go for work individually and not having a lot of the big lab facility to finish, to finalize, or maybe to implement, to pilot some ideas that they might have in the space where they stay in the campus and work on their own.
А сейчас
And now the spaces and the rooms, we would like to
комнаты и
see them
пространства
quite
учреждений будут
functional, quite
функциональными,
mobile,
мобильными
and
и с
one,
размещением
for example, like a two-bedroom
одноместным.
facility,
Также
two-bedroom
мы
rooms. We'd also like to
хотели бы
consider
обязательно рассмотреть
connection of the
обязательно
first stage of
расширить
the campus
связь
with the second
первой
stage of the
очереди
campus.
кампуса со второй очередью кампуса,
So
чтобы
these
пространства не все-таки не
facilities could be
переплетались, и
interconnected. They might
возможность
have this
перехода через
overhanging the bridge or
пешеходную,
some
возможно,
pedestrian
такую
area
связь необходимо
connecting
первую,
these
во
two.
вторую
It's
очередь
very important to
указать.
apply it. It's parking zones,
Его
so
парковые
where you can
зоны,
have the
для того, чтобы
parks.
можно было комфортно
We can
перемещаться с
comfortably and
прибрежными
conveniently move
двумя
on between two
частями
parts of the campus.
кампуса.
It's very important to take into
Также,
account
конечно же, должны быть
the
учтены
spaces for the
пространства и
workers, for
для
the staff
работников,
members that
которые
will
будут
maintain all these
осуществлять содержание
facilities,
помещений кампуса, которые будут осуществлять
and that will work
содержательную
with the
работу в кампусе со студентами
postgraduates
и
and with the
аспирантами.
students in that campus. I mean,
И
for the faculty actually. And also,
одной
while
из
developing
важных
this
тоже
comfortable
частей – это
environment, it's
создание
very important
комфортной
to
среды
take into account
проживания, это
the high
учесть
population,
большую
the big
населенность
number of the
кампуса и
population,
необходимость
and
предусмотреть
also to imply the idea of the
комнату для их
canteens
того,
and
чтобы
cafeterias, because
такой
this big
большой
flow of
поток
people could
людей
comfortably
комфортно мог в том числе
get
и
some
на территории где-то
have some breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
пообедать,
There could be
позавтракать,
different
поужинать.
formats
Возможно, это
for
будут
the people
разные
to eat.
форматы,
So some premises for
помещений для
having the food, some
принятия пищи,
cafeterias or food
кофейни.
courts, coffee shops maybe. And for a
И,
comfortable life, it's very
конечно, для
important to
комфортной
have
жизни обязательно необходимо предусмотреть и
interesting,
интересные
inspiring
ландшафты,
landscape
зоны,
solutions,
да,
so
чтобы
you
можно
can
было
both
проводить
work and
парки и отдыхать, и
have
работать.
rest.
То есть
So green
исходная
frame
часть,
and
они
green elements.
будут,
So it's very
скажем,
important to have
выгодны,
them
но
there.
тем не
So
менее
we believe that our
мы
campus should be in the
предполагаем, что
park
кампус
actually,
наш должен
and
быть в
we put a
парке.
lay
И мы большое,
very high
большое
emphasis on
внимание
these
уделяем
green
именно
territories,
зеленой этой территории. И
and
хотелось бы
that's what we would like to see
в
in
конкурсных
the
работах увидеть отражение
competition
этого
works to apply for
желания
this
создать
campus, this
кампус в
big part
парке.
of the parks. From this
От
part of the
этой
campus,
части
we expect
кампуса мы
it
ожидаем
as one of the facts, the desire to stay
то есть
as
это
much
желание находиться
as
в
long
этом
as possible,
пространстве,
that actually
которое
enhance the
способствует
creative search,
творческому, научному
the
поиску
breakthroughs that could be
прорывов
achieved through staying and
и
working there, that we would like to get
обогащений, которые мы ожидаем получить в
from the
нашей
residents
жизни жителей
of this campus.
этих кампусов.
That's probably it. If
Наверное,
there are
на
any
этом
questions, I'll be happy to answer
если
them.
будут вопросы, с
Thank
удовольствием
you.
отвечу.
And I would like to give the floor to Yelena Plishkina, Financial Director of the Sirius ISTC Foundation, in order to speak about infrastructure and this competition blocks of land. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say a few words. What is ISTC? ISTC series could be defined differently. On the one hand, it's the combination of the different lands with a special preferential regime in accordance with the Federal Law 216. On the other hand, it's a community of the organizations or ISTC residents, the major goal of which is to perform some science and technology activities in priority areas for the Russian Federation and the working within this federal territory of Sirius. And again, on the third side, another third thing is the managing company, ISTC, as well as the foundation. It is basically the owner and the manager of this territory, of this property. As for the operational management and implementation of infrastructural projects, creation of the environments for this territory development. As for the strategic goal is to develop on this federal territory of the innovative activity with the logics that goes aligned with the logics of the major challenges in order to commercialize these scaling up projects, in order to have this full cycle of the solutions. So what are the residents? As for the ISTC residents, the companies Russia-wide, so current companies or the companies that are just established like startups that are registered on the territory of this territory, Sirius territory, and they're ready to implement their advanced and disruptive ideas, taking all the resources and opportunities of the series. Companies, since they got the status of resident, have these tax incentives and tax holiday in order to successful commercialization of their projects. For the business representatives, it's very important to have good ecosystem that actually enhance to develop this technological entrepreneurship and give a chance to take advantage of all the infrastructural perks of this complex. From the Sirius University that was spoken by Anton up to enrolling to the presidential lyceum of the series, practicing sports, smart tourism, going for different types of activities. These are the opportunities for the ISTC residents on the territory of this on this federal territory. It's very important to highlight that the residents are working independently, but they make up a community of developers, entrepreneurs, innovators, inventors, together implementing some joint projects. Currently, ISTC residents, there are 96 of them, 96 companies, and 67% of them going in for IT and AI, 28% in genetics and life science, and 30% working for interdisciplinary research. Over the 2024, the net revenue of the residents amounted to 30 billion rubles, and with a staff number of 4,700. It's very important to highlight that among this number of residents, 10% of them are startups created by this university, Sirius University students. And we believe their share will be growing year by year. The key indicators of the ISTC strategy plan implies their gradual growth. The number of the resident companies will grow to 500, number of the jobs will grow to 10,000. In order to achieve these outlined goals and tasks of the ISTC, it's very important to further develop the infrastructure and to have this competitive environment that enhances and stimulates the active, creative, innovative activity, and it actually fosters attracting to the federal territory the most talented youth, scientists, developers of the IT companies and high-tech companies in priority areas of Sirius ISTC. And now, searching for the solution of the ISTC series is the pivotal top priority for the managing company that is one of the commissioner or main of this contest. That's why we're planning to create 3 technology and science districts, as part of which we're planning to develop the infrastructure for the ISTC development. The first is the multifunctional residential business area, 5 hectares total area, with a property for new residents and current residents, going for the IT and other infrastructure, climate and environment. So that's district that is outlined. That's unique flock of land is focused on development of high-tech medicine. That's this district number 2. As for the infrastructure of ISTC, it is planned to have the apartments for the faculty and of the Science and Technology University series, as well as the company staff members developing the genetics and life science. What is the profile for the workers for whom we create these apartments in this area? We highlighting 2 categories: that leading scientists and scholars, experienced researchers, aged 30 to 50, attracted from the major scientific and technology centers of Russia, primarily married. 60% have 1 or 2 kids, of teenagers of the primary and senior school, and have good living conditions in their cities, and they will prefer living in the similar conditions or in the better conditions. And the second category is young specialists under 35, coming from different regions of Russia, as well as from different countries of the world, primarily single or not married yet, not having kids or having just 1 kid of the preschool age. On a regular basis, staying there for this employment time or just as part of the project activity. Provision of the accommodation is the corporate accommodation with a special tariff, which amounts to 20% of the market price. For the resident companies, the special discounted tariff with a special discount is related to the market price, so below the market price. The third district, number 3, will be created on the 23 hectares for development of the safe and secure protection, processing, and storing data for the robotized systems, and we should be integrated into a student campus that was told by the previous speaker. And the opportunity of the area should provide the residents and partners with the rent apartments for their specialists and their family members, kindergartens or office premises as technoparks, which allow to organize the full-flight cycle of the business processes in a small series production and administrating.
ISTC options, 3 options around the year for company staff that is working in the territory all around the year and the functioning. And of course, they should be having access to all the services year round. Programming stay, I usually stay up to 14 days to take part in the specific short-term programs organized by residents and partners of ISTC, specific tasks as well as one-day visits. So what is the target audience? Permanent staff of technology companies at the federal territories. We speaking about now the company portrait. We expect that 60% will be mid-size and small-size companies with the 15 up to 50 staff, and the second category, about 40%, with the permanent office staff at the federal territory from 50 up to 150. Now, positions of staff that will be located at federal territory permanently. These 70% are the specialists with an average income 180 to 200,000 rubles a month. Department heads, as well as some 5% would be company leadership, and we won't be even talking about the income levels there. Now, the portrait of staff that would be ready to move into the federal territory, SciTech, ISTC, as from other districts, 60% young specialists, average age 31-year-old, 50% are married, and some 45% having one preschooler kid. 40% experienced staff, 40 to 50 predominantly married, 1 or 2 preschool or school-age students. Specialists looking at transfer to Sirius based on our surveys by ISTC as an opportunity to develop their career, comfortable living environment for family, and desire to be part of the community, IT community, as well as innovators community. Now, accents or stresses on the main infrastructure of ISTC that would be developed in this district. These are shaped based on the surveys we had both with existing residents as well as potential ones. Speaking about the residential area, this should be assuring comfortable short, medium, and long stay, meeting their needs, different category apartments, standard comfort premium studios, family apartments, additional options such as guest modules for short stays, as well as joint blocks for large families or creative teams. Now, we are accentuating also development of community, some aspects, common areas on the first floors or on terraces. Other solutions are also welcome. A key principle is flexibility, multi-format use scenarios. That's important for investment structuring. Of course, technology smart, various implement. Plus, of course, please remember about the microclimate and privacy. Privacy was noted by our residents as particularly valuable. Speaking about office spaces, office buildings need to be flexible so that office and conference halls can be well integrated. Adaptable office spaces should be equipped for comfortable work. Once again, adaptability for the needs of the renters, etc. Um, Main spaces function is, of course, office spaces, different size companies to use them. Labs for possibility to bring in technological equipment. We expect that on top of the technopark, office spaces would also have, say, some areas where these can be organized. Please remember co-working as well as various conference or negotiation rooms, transformable spaces for business events, as well as some exhibit spaces using AR, VR. Of course, commercial functions, retail on the first floors. What we'd like to see is a typography, children's entertainment center, possibly robotics center, as well as various services, banking and other divisions. We do see great demand for sports function. Fitness centers could have swimming rooms as well as universal training rooms, cyber sports, as well as VR zones. Now, a technology research park that would be an important center for innovation in our understanding and is to be serving as a multifunctional technology center to be supporting both small and medium entrepreneurship in the high-tech product development production. Main elements: light industrial spaces, blocks from 500 to 1, possibly 2,000 square meters. That could be of interest to small and possibly medium-sized companies for the development, various batch production. Second component would be logistics center, large spaces from 1,500 up to 3,000, 1,500 to 3,000 square meters for various industrial spaces for startups, high-tech spaces for the mid-sized companies. Speaking about scientific research center for and work for the partners, important components would be to have quite a powerful data processing center, powerful enough to meet the needs of the whole center as well as the media studio. That in the technopark as well as in the office spaces, it's important that routing is well thought through, that assures free and safe and secure movement of preschoolers and secondary, elementary and secondary students, because that's part of the Sirius concept. We are already having internship of secondary students doing some internships with the residents and partner companies. So that's something to be counted for. And overall, when you design infrastructure, please think it's important that the necessary sets of measures to ensure safety and security for different users and events is accounted for. And in conclusion, I'd like to state that ISTC mission is about establishing a complex innovative system at the competition territory for the strengthening of innovative technological sovereignty of the country and assuring technological leadership. And we are expecting that contest participants would be filing proposals that would be meeting both modern trends in the comfortable living environments, urban spaces, as well as be helping innovative companies and creative people, young people, to be together generating new economy solutions for serious federal technology and be capable of addressing challenging science and technology tasks for the needs of the state. Of course, we are running the In this competition, we want to see each of the master plans to turn a magnet for investments, and we expect that contestants would be giving us well thought through and economically justified solutions. Thank you very much for the presentation, Adam. We are now be moving to discussing about to talk about transportation of solutions, inviting Ms. Evgenia Gintrov, Director of the Department of Architecture and Urban Planning of Sirius Federal Territory, passing the floor. Thank you, Sergey, dear colleagues, dear participants of the Open International Architectural Competition. Speaking about transportation engineering infrastructure of Sirius Federal Territory. The main artery of Sirius Federal Territory is the Federal Highway A147, North Caucasus Railway. Sochi International Airport is at Adler, but it's close. Of course, there is Emirati port. Plus, we are developing a comprehensive transportation strategy at the moment. I'd like to know that transportation infrastructure of Sirius Federal Territory is quite developed, but at the moment, we are designing and we'll be building another highway, plus, of course, bike routes and walking routes to assure better connectedness and to make sure that people walk more than drive. Because territory is quite beautiful and not too big. Speaking about engineering infrastructure, we are having all the necessary capabilities, and if necessary, we are in touch with the industrial players. We can design, develop, and build necessary speaking infrastructure. Now, speaking about the competitive plots. As part of the competition, master plans for two sci-tech projects to be developed. The area number 2 is located close to the existing university area. That is to have some specialized as well as housing. It's meant for the development of high-tech medicine, personalized as well for well-being. We are to create a Sirius University Medical Clinical Center as a core of the medical cluster that will later be surrounded by supporting infrastructure. This clinic concentrating on cancer treatment and care will be to be used with genetic technologies. University status of the clinic is advanced methodology plus is about methodologies plus of course research in the education and medical science and education. Speaking about post-university training and retrain and upskilling at Sirius University clinic. This clinic, together with the university staff efforts, would be making with medical, scientific, and educational opportunities would be created. As Ms. Dilar Rashidna has been speaking already, to support this, we are creating special infrastructure, hospital, respective center. We are looking at various challenges to organize connectivity, to support infrastructural components, looking at opportunities to scale provision of various services. We are, of course, provide necessary medical cluster support programs. Once again, this plot number 2 has the sci-tech district of ours number 3 that would to be properly integrated with the second phase of the campus development, that is to be located this territory, become the core of this district development. Ms. Christina has been speaking about this. The first part is being designed, whilst the second phase of the campus is part of this competition. It's important that both phases are to be connected, both at the landscape level, functionally and logistically. The opportunities of this area is to provide all the residents, partners, and others with necessary residence, office spaces, entertainment, research and development, educational infrastructure, etc. All the needs have to be accounted for, of course. Uh, Development park, production spaces, they don't have to be big, but they should be there. My presentation is over. I'll be happy to respond to questions, if any. Thank you very much, Evgenia Vladimirovna. It's clear that technology part is a very important aspect of this territory. At the same time, it's water and climate study elements are also intriguing everybody. With us is Elena Geshos. Could you please shed light to environmental agenda? Could you please talk to us about the park that everybody is being inspired by? Thank you very much, Sergey, for the intro. You made me feel very much inspired to speak based on the valuable data that colleagues have presented. I will now like to shed the light to environmental element of the Sirius agenda, thanking everybody who has connected and is interested in becoming part of our agenda. We do hope to be contributing very much into the architectural and landscape solutions in the country. Speaking about the environmental agenda, dear colleagues, I'm quite confident that you are familiar with the sustainable development principles, stable urban planning, various compliance with standards. I will probably speak about the importance of environment and climate change for this project. To begin with, we are located in such a, I would say, corner of the country that by its very location is telling us about the importance of preservation and integration of the natural heritage we are having for ourselves, for children, for future generations. Many might be familiar with where we are. Those who haven't yet, we are inviting you to visit. We are in a unique area of the country. We are surrounded by outstanding natural areas. Caucasus Biosphere Reserve, UNESCO, Sochi Heritage, Sochi Park, Natural Climatic Park, that is part of the area we are on the Black Sea, between the Black Sea and Caucasus Mountains, which is, of course, setting the context for us to be able to think about sustainable ecosystems. Speaking about ecology and climate change, Mr. Gusiev has mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, is one of the priorities for the development of Sirius. Of course, educational programs and scientific initiatives in this area are of great importance. And the area we are located is, I would dare say, natural lab. Of course, secondary students, university students, professors, experts all together. This is an opportunity for us to be working together, planning sustainability for decades to come. You are seeing some principles of sustainable development on my slide. Many of you are familiar with that. My message is we hope very much that the participants would be looking at architectural solutions not as facilities per se that are meeting some infrastructural needs, some technical solutions, etc., but think about them being very well harmoniously integrated into the natural environment where our territory is. We are speaking about developing an harmonious space of nature, human, and architecture. In a sense, we want to see not just the beautiful architectural solutions for specific facilities, but we are trying to communicate to the fact that by developing the architectural component in the harmony with the natural and landscape, whatever, you want to preserve that and address climate changes.
And many of you know as scientific and practical oriented area as adaptation to climatic changes, and we would really like that in your works could consider how these sites would be functioning, how sustainable they'll be in 10, 15, 20 years time, because in the long-term perspective, because that's a long-term planning, long-term management, and the period that we would like to creating and laying the foundation for this maintenance and operation period, so we can take advantage of all these solutions and architectural solutions that you would develop. So this adaptational measures on sustaining biodiversity and supporting the energy efficiency in the operation of the buildings and facilities, the measures on introduction of the smart systems, centralized management, water treatment measures, and the concept of minimization of adverse effects on the environment, as well as, that's only one side. On the other side is this harmonious introduction into the natural complexes that we can see here. It's, I would say, it is no small feat. It's a very big challenge. And now moving on to the part that was presented by our moderator, to this National Nature and Climate Water Park. We are now actively discussing the project of the first National Nature and Climate Water Park. It will meet these challenges, hopefully, that I have enumerated. All these natural values and complexes that we are surrounded by, that we're happy to have here, and we have the responsibility to take care of it. So we want to integrate it into unified or single ecosystem development of the Nature and Climate Water Park. I would like to outline the major principle, and you're quite familiar with it. And we're taking this path. It's the city in the park. We consider the federal territory of Sirius as like single or unified territory that has this natural and recreational framework with the green spaces, parks, gardens, with a special biologically diverse and enriched ranges where we can not just only enjoy the nature that we see, and they have truly diversity of ideas, because Sirius is the very place of subtropical climatic region where we can bring to life the most daring ideas in terms of the green solutions. So we consider this National Nature and Climate Water Park as a single component that interconnects these green spaces, all our approaches and principles to ecological construction on the one hand and preservation of the environment on the other. So it's very important to say that all the areas, these districts 1, 2, and 3, they'll be localized within the contour or the boundaries of this National Nature and Climate Water Park. And I would be very grateful if you'd be very thoroughly planning the water sites, water bodies, facilities, and green areas, so as if they see it as part of some big and very solid and robust. I would like to highlight one more time these two major meaningful statements and bullet points of creation of this water park. Is first, preservation of water biodiversity, because construction of the Olympic sites and facilities, Olympic Games, and active development in this region, it had some detrimental effect on the ecosystem. And in our project, we want to recreate, recover, and try to preserve this balance, this natural balance of biodiversity that initially we witnessed before the big construction that's was connected with Olympic Games. And the second thing is the regulating and mitigating and managing the microclimate and climate effect that will allow us to ensure this comfortable stay in these green areas on the one hand. On the other, it's adaptation to climate changes. So the participants would really like these participants to think about this long-term management and long-term service life of our facilities, as well as our children and even grandchildren, how climate change might affect the sustainability, integrity, and continuity of this site. Colleagues, I can speak endlessly about these environmental values, about inclusion, and probably that's it. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the Q&A session. Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. And now let's move on to some aspects of the competition itself, the competition procedure. So, our competition is an open one, and major goal is to select the best master plan for 2 science and technology districts of the Sirius federal territory through this professional procedure that we showed to you. It's unified, it doesn't have any nominations, so you develop the master plan for 2 territories. So the task is to define the conceptual scenarios for spatial organization and functional use of each of the competitive plots, development of economically justified urban planning solutions that ensure a high standard of living and stimulate creative and scientific work for both plots. And third task is to develop solutions of the architectural appearance and landscape architectural organization of the territory. We considered 2 stages, and now you are at the stage 1, when we receive the applications and selecting 3 finalists. As part of this stage, you submit the application on the website of the competition. Please pay attention that we recommend to register at the website of the competition ahead of time and to register all the members of your consortium. There you can submit the e-format of the application as well as the jury members will select 3 finalists that will move on to the stage 2, that will qualify to it. And in stage 2, we develop the competition proposals that is done by finalists and the selecting the winner and acquiring all the places and all the works will be ranked and prized. As for the participants, that could be Russian international professional organizations in the field of urban planning, comprehensive development of territories, master planning, architecture, and design. And it's very important for us so you can attract your team specialists in the sphere of economics, finance, and content programming, so your solutions could be most practice-oriented and feasible. As for the prize pool, it amounts to 22 million rubles. It will be paid to each of the 3 finalists, depending on the place that you got. And most importantly, you can look at the very intense timeline that you can see on the slide. Our webinar is finalizing the cycle of 3 webinars dedicated to the competition, but it's not restricting you and the opportunity to ask any questions through the hotline or through the email of the competition. We'll be happy to answer your questions further on, and we can organize some additional sessions that might be announced on the official website if needed, and through sending to the emails of the competition participants. Please look at the first session of the jury meeting. It's the 24th and 25th of June, which says actually that was the time when we select 3 finalists that will be qualified, that will qualify to the stage 2. Those selected will have a chance to visit this federal territory series, see the major facilities, major sites that you heard about during this session, meeting the major stakeholders, leaders of the territory as the focus groups, and the users, and will create a special infrastructure so you work will not be just in the office one, but practice-oriented, so we have a chance to get an access to all the sites and infrastructures. It is very important to well-fledged the comprehensive planning of the territory.
Предложение для защиты на финальном заседании экспертного
Sorry,
совета
inaudible.
и жюри. Обратите внимание на последние две даты в таймлайне, которые демонстрируют очную
Yeah, so quite real, true to
и
life
представление вашего конкурсного предложения.
proposal for protecting at the final session of the expert council.
Еще целый месяц.
Dear members,
Пользуйтесь этой возможностью для того, чтобы
please pay attention to the last.
и затем подать свою заявку. Если вы наведете ваши телефоны на левый нижний угол
If
экрана,
you would look at the QR code, you would be through QR code you can get to the website of the competition, or type SiriusMasterPlan.com or SiriusMasterPlan.com. And that way you'll be able to contact or reach us out through a phone number +7495 is for Moscow, 1234553. Out of office hours, we can feel free to leave a recording of your message. But if your question is complex, has of many elements, the easiest probably way would be info@SiriusMasterPlan.com. Us as an operator, we are working as following a single window mode. Whatever question it is, to whatever expert it is, feel free, use us as a single window communication. We will find the person who will be best qualified to respond. We would collect that information and respond to you with that, so that you would be best able to respond to the task that you are having. I'm now passing the floor to Irina Sergeyevna Levina, Chief Analyst of the competition, to speak about the criteria of the task.
Thank you, Sergey. Thank you. Good afternoon, dear colleagues and participants. We learned a lot about this Federal Territory Series, and now let's move on to the criteria, how we evaluate the work. So the first stage. First, now we are going through this active stage of collecting the applications till the end of the May, as it was announced. We're looking forward to have them. The application, the first stage, is made up of three components: essay, sketches, and portfolio. In essay, you describe the key ideas and these conceptual proposals for the master plan. For these competitive plots, it is ranging from 4,000 to 6,000 characters. The sketches should demonstrate these solutions, to visually demonstrate your solutions. Another important part of this application is a portfolio. We hope to see 5 relevant projects, and I like to pay attention that if you join the competition as part of the consortium, then at least one project of the consortium should be developed by the consortium leader. Other 4 might be distributed between all the consortium participants, or could be led by the consortium, but it's very important to have the experience of the consortium leader that should be reflected at the stage of application. As for the relevant projects, in the sphere of urban planning, architecture, or socioeconomic development, and we like to pay attention that at least 3 projects out of 5 should be focused on urban planning, urban development. We assess the relevance, compliance of the ideas proposed, and the level of implementation feasibility, and the concept will be assessed in a less better than the project that has already been implemented, that you left before, as part of your track record. Then moving on to the second stage, 3 finalists as a result of the applications assessment will qualify to the stage 2, and they prepare the competition proposal. So we have following criteria, and it's very important to pay attention to the 7 principles at the stage of development of your application that will allow you not to miss all the meanings and very essence that we integrated in this competition description. First, creating an environment that is conducive to breakthroughs, that actually enhances the breakthrough in scientific technological advancement So free inflow of knowledge, ideas, and some free activity in different work. So creation of unique environment supporting the goals of the federal territory. Here we're looking for some quite daring and brave ideas that will show this uniqueness and identity of this special status of the federal territory. The next one is the formation of urban environment that is comfortable and convenient for residents, quite down-to-earth point, and the representatives of the federal territory that will use this land should feel they are comfortable, convenient, home-like, and it was already said, it's very demanding community. The representatives of the IT environment, creative cluster, it's very important that all their high standards and requirements to the quality of life should be met there. The next, principle 4, consistency of architectural image with the established image of Sirius. It has a lot of architectural dominant sites, and the proposal is affect an overall image of the series as such. It's also important to consider sustainable the principles of connectivity, transport connectivity with the external world, and following the timeline, first phase until 28 and 2035. That's the phase 2. Let's moving on to composition of competition proposal. I'd like to pay attention that the maximum detailed description and requirements to these proposals will be given to 3 finalists as part of the technical assignment. Here we define the several blocks or units that we expect to see in the competition proposals. They are given in 2 languages, it's Russian and English. As for the lineup or composition, that's the album, visualization, presentation boards, the speech presentation videos, 3D model of the territory, and some auxiliary or additional materials, if any. So these materials could be sent by email in a digital format, in a physical format, they'll be on a hard copy. As for the content elements, there'll be 5 of them. So it's very important to imply comprehensive assessment of the conditions for the competitive plots development. Then it's very important to imply scenarios for spatial organization and functional use of these plots participating in the competition. Go for the urban planning solutions that will ensure implementation of scenarios for functional use and that you are planning to have, as well as the solutions for creating architectural appearance both for the major sites and the major public spaces. And finally, prepare some framework, financial and economic justification, develop the roadmap, and outline the key events and also calculate the possible financial budget effects that we would get as a result of these competition proposals implementation. Here, I would like to pay attention that the competition has certain specificity. We have 2 plots, and some of the content parts are duplicating each other, and for each specific plot, they have to develop specifically. But this information will be exposed in technical assignment for 3 finalists in our competition. Now moving on to the criteria for evaluating competition proposals. There are 8 of them. First is a compliance with the competition documentation with all the requirements of terms and references. Then the complete consideration of urban planning context. So all the taking into account the current urban condition in the series, comprehensiveness of architectural planning, development, optimality and sufficiency of the detailed architectural planning and urban development solutions, correspondent with the global trends and modern standards of sustainable development principles, so uniqueness, originality of the architectural concept, and consistency of architectural concept with established architectural appearance of serious federal territory and assurance of economic and social effectiveness with implementing competitive solutions. Colleagues, now we're moving on to the Q&A session. Sergey, now I'll give the floor to you. Thank you very much, and let's go through the questions that we received in the chat. And also remind you that you can use the open mic format for this. You can use the functionality and you can just use the emoji. I'll see that you have a hand raised and I'll give the floor to you. And in the chat, you'll see the guidelines, how to use this functionality of our platform. of the open mic in our Q&A session. So make sure that you study thoroughly and follow the guidelines. So we received the question throughout the whole presentation, and the very first question that we heard is the plot 20 is part of the plot of land 1051. Here it will be quite fine. It will be appropriate to have the slide on, so we can make the visual format. And this question, it's better if Evgeny Ginter will respond to this question. Is that plot of land 20 is part of 1051? And I can see that my colleagues is putting on a slide. Evgenia Vladimirovna, can you comment on this? Maybe Evgenia Vladimirovna is not here online at this very moment. I would like to comment on this following way. There are different resisted areas, and some small flocks of land are not numbered. They don't have the specific number. It's about the difference in these ordinal numbers and cadastral numbers. If we have Evgenia Vladimirovna back with us, she will give more details about that. But for now, we'll keep it open for further discussion. Unless we succeed answering the questions, colleagues, we can do that later on in a written form. We'll put it in one FAQ list, and after the webinar, we'll upload it to the website of the competition. Moving on to the next question. Good afternoon. Are there any specific requirements to the sketch solutions as part of the application that the competition participants should provide? Irina, please comment on that. Thank you very much for the question. There are no any specific comments. Any describe the documentation. It's very important. They have to have the horizontal format, and they should illustrate and should demonstrate the ideas from essay. They should be aligned, obviously, and psychological requirement. You shouldn't go too much into abstract ideas. Some stylistically and visually, we don't have any specific ones. It should be quite. That's quite a creative aspect of your solution, of your application. And these images should demonstrate your essay and enhance our understanding your essay, as well as your unique style, if you want to expose them, or some conceptual way of presenting your material. In the application, we keep those that will allow you to manifest and say more using the text format as well as the visual format.
Next question. Do all stages of the project are fully covered by funding financing? That's clearly a question to colleagues from Sirius Federal Territory. Do you have earmarked funding for all stages of the project? How is that being constructed? How would be ready to respond? Let me be the one to comment this. Funding for various facilities is at different stages of approvals now, but that's not a key issue at this stage of the competition. Of course, within the perimeter of the project, some facilities will be having, say, commercial purposes, but at the moment we are speaking about plots in general. Thus, we are mainly interested to see your vision for the master plan overall. Thank you, Irina. Going to the next question. Please, could you share with us whether there is a functional zoning for the totality of Sirius Federal Territory development and some plan for that? Could Irina Vladimirovna comment that question if she is not with us? I would only allow myself to comment that, as we have, it's been mentioned at the present webinars. At the moment, we do not have a full comprehensive master plan for the totality of the Sirius federal territory. This competition is opening up this work in that sense. You would not see the comprehensive master plan for the Sirius federal territory, but the zoning schemes, all the documents available at the moment would be made available. Next question. Will the competition commission would be looking at the consortium for agreement? Are there any requirements there too? Would that document be a criteria for assessment? Well, clearly, this is not the format of your agreement that is a criteria. You can be taking part either individually or as consortia. Clearly, consortia are predominant participants for in the master plan contests. You are having an opportunity to be joining forces with other participants, have either a memorandum or a consortium agreement signed and inform how you would be taking part in this competition. And in that sense, it's not the content of your agreement and how you formalized. What we would be assessing is whether you have or lack specific competency, specific skill sets as part of your teams. In that sense, we are inviting you to be shaping your team based on the tasks that the team would have to deal with as presented in the documents on the website. Do we understand that all the documents that you'll be filing would have to be provided in two languages? Not everybody, because whenever you are providing documents about your entities, you can file those documents in. It is only in one language. You don't have to provide the documents in the second language. You can take a look at all the applications, all the documents that you will need to be filing. You can take a look. Everything seems to be quite natively, quite easily understandable. Step by step, you can prepare those applications with before filing and save and add to that. Next question. Would there be a priority to projects that are that have been completed or those in construction stage vis-a-vis versus those that have been just developed? As in all competitions, we would of course be looking at your project through different prisms, implemented in the process, conceptual, etc. There are different projects that you can be providing as part of your portfolio. What we are assessing is whether the experience your team has is relevant to our competition. Of course, when we see that you have not just developed a project but had it implemented, it gives a priority to your team because the expert community, those that would be assessing, understand that you are having necessary experience. So, but it should not be limiting you as to providing us with your theoretical project, possibly an idea that was not implemented, but is reflecting your thinking, the scale of your approaches, etc. It would be very well demonstrating your qualities. In that sense, the choice is yours: implemented, not implemented projects. Next question about compensation. How is that being remuneration is being done? How that would be done? Different detalization of components Well,
Таким
everything,
ВМ
all the
в
expenses
бухе
that
остается
you
за
cover
пределами.
is
Есть
all
призовой
yours.
фонд,
There is a
выплаты
prize
призового
fund,
фонда,
and
есть первая выплата,
first
которая
payment
осуществляется
is
при
done when
прохождении,
you are
и
getting to
вторая выплата,
finals,
которая
and the
осуществляется
second
в
payment is
зависимости от того
made
места,
in
которое
line
займет
with
ваша
the
команда.
place that
Для
your team
результата
gets.
вы
That's
ранжируете сумму
how
выплаты.
we
Мы
are
рассматриваем
identifying. We are not looking
ваши
into the
подрядчиков,
details of your
договоры капитала,
expenses,
офисы, аренды
subcontractors,
и так далее.
offices,
Это не имеет
rentals,
отношения к
etc.,
конкурсу.
etc.
В данном
No.
случае в вашем
Your
призовом
consortium
туре
should
должен быть
have
победитель.
a
Это та
leader.
сторона, которая
That's
заключит
the
договор.
party
И эта
that is
сторона,
signing an
соответственно,
agreement
получит
with us,
всю
and
сумму
is the
призового
party
фонда в
that will
комплекте.
be receiving
Следующий
those
вопрос.
two
Включите в
payments.
программу развития зоны
Next,
отдыха, спорта,
uh,
оздоровления, термальные ванны. Есть ли сегодня на федеральной
thermal
территории
baths, etc.,
такие
etc. They are.
опции?
Should they be included into the
Коллеги, кто готов
concept? Colleagues
прокомментировать
from
этот
the federal
разговор на примере?
territory, could you be able to
Мы,
comment? If I may, I'll
если позволить,
be
опять
speaking, Miss
следовать,
Irina
говорю,
Kaida.
мне кажется,
These
вот такой вид
types
спорта,
of
естественно,
sports
является неотъемлемой
facilities,
частью комфортной
baths, etc.
городской
That's a
среды.
comfortable environment,
Если в
urban
периметре
environment. If in the perimeter
ваших
of your proposals you
предложений
are seeing
предвидеть
such
возможность интеграции таких
facilities
объектов в
into the infrastructure of
инфраструктуру конкурсных
contest
участков, то,
plots,
безусловно, это
that
будет
would be
большим
just
плюсом.
welcomed. Thank you.
Большое спасибо.
And next
И
question.
следующий вопрос. На
Contest
конкурсном
plot
участке
number
номер
2
2
has
имеются
some
различные ОКС и
rail as well as
железнодорожные
other
узлы.
infrastructure
Вопросы.
elements.
Нужна ли
Question: would
железнодорожная
Sirius
ветка для
Technopark need a
технопарка
rail
Sirius?
connectivity?
Сохраняются ли существующие ОКС?
Existing
Или их нужно
with existing
демонтировать?
tracks and other
Возможно,
infrastructure components
ведущая могла бы
are
прокомментировать
to
для нас
be
этот вопрос.
kept,
Во-первых, насколько
or can we
Я часть
remove
вопроса
some of
могу
them?
прокомментировать, да. Понимаю, откуда по
Speaking
поводу
about the
спроса,
rail
нужны ли
connectivity
ЖД-пути
to tenants,
резидентам.
well, there
Запрос
is
такого
no
нет.
such a request. I
Понимаю,
understand
что
that
вопрос
question is
родился из
coming up from
описания
the
технопарка и элемента
Technoport description as
диагностического
logistics
центра, да,
center,
но здесь, значит,
but
мне
I need
необходимо
to clarify
уточнить,
that
что
the
для
residents
резидентов
need light
необходимы
industrial
услуги
blocks
формата Light
from
Industry, да,
500
от
up to
500 до
1500 square meters.
квадратных
Speaking
метров.
about
Что касается
logistics center,
логистического центра,
that is a
то
warehousing space
это складское
of the
пространство
domestic
отечественных
producers
минопроизводителей и
and
поставщиков оборудования реактивов для
as well
уже
as
обеспечения деятельности
suppliers to
резидентов
provide the
минационного
equipment,
центра. В этом есть
reagents
запрос,
for
да,
the various labs.
и, соответственно, скорее всего, это какой-то один
So
может быть склад, одно помещение,
respective warehousing
как раз,
can be a
которое вот,
separate or separate
обеспечивает
provision
всех резидентов и
space.
деятельность, в принципе, НТЦ, да, и
Residents and
оптимизирует работу
ISTC
резидентов. В
work.
целом, концепция с точки зрения крупных производств, это ЖД-пути, как правило, нужны для
Overall,
перевозки крупногабаритного груза, да, это больше формата заводов, да, производства. У нас концепция как сейчас, она не будет меняться, да, на федеральной территории.
speaking about the
Значит, что все
larger
эти большие
industrial
производства
areas, these
здесь
are
не
not present
располагаются. Когда мы
here.
говорим про,
They are not needed.
значит,
Speaking about the technopark and the
технопарк
objective
и
of
цель
creation
его
thereof
создания, да, это
is
все-таки
to
обеспечить
assure
средние
the
опытно-промышленные измерения
experimental
инфраструктуры
as well as
средней и малой
infrastructure
компании
for
для ускоренного
smaller and
развития,
medium-sized
да, их
companies to
решений,
rapidly
технологий.
develop their
То есть если
technologies.
их производство
If
изначально в какой-то компании
uh,
укладывается и может быть размещен на
some production
площади
of a cycle of a
полторы
company
тысячи
can be
квадратных метров,
implemented at
и это
1500, and that's a project
проект
that is being
реализуется
implemented
по
as part of
приоритетным и
priority and
фокусным
focus
направлениям,
dimensions,
да, то мы
then we believe that it's quite
считаем
possible
целесообразным дать возможность
that such a production
разместить
can be
и
organized
организовать
and we allow
производство.
them to place.
Если же
But if some
какого-то
residents are
резидента
expecting
значит, проектная группа
their
предлагает именно
projects
вот в
are
рамках
expecting some
промышленные
industrial scale of
значит,
production, then this
объемы
would be
производства, то
organized
он
in line with
организовывает это,
Federal Law
возможно, как здесь у
216
нас было
outside
ТЗ,
of Sirius federal
за
territory and
пределами
quite possible
федеральной
even in a
территории
different
и,
area.
возможно, даже в
In that
другом
sense,
регионе. Поэтому для резидентов
I
конкретно
for
концепции
ISTC, for the
деятельности, ЖК
resident
больше не
rail
нужны.
connectivity is
А что
not
касается
necessary, but
сноса
talking about the
бывших
removal of
ОПС,
the
да, это вот
existing facilities,
модернизации интерфейс.
probably
Елена, если
Evgeny
позволите, я
Ginter would
уточнила
be
этот момент с
best.
Евгенией Владимировной,
Evgeny
так как она была
Ginter's
доступна, но приносила
bringing her
извинения в связи
excuses,
с
she
настоящим
had to
совещанием.
contact an
Вопросов
emergency meeting.
снятия железнодорожных
No
путей
obstacles to
в
removal of
таких городах нет. То есть
rail
если
connections that are
эти пути могут быть удалены.
rails that are in place, they can be removed. Let me
Спасибо.
remind
И
dear
я напоминаю уважаемым
participants
участникам, что вы можете не только размещать
that
ваши
you
вопросы в письменном виде в чате, вы также можете использовать функционал поднятия руки для того, чтобы задать ваш вопрос. Еще раз попрошу моих коллег продублировать инструкцию в чат трансляции, для того, чтобы все, кому это необходимо, могли воспользоваться этой опцией. Если вы хотите задать вопрос очно, вы можете включить микрофон, камеру и задать его, пожалуйста. Используйте эту возможность. Мы пока перейдем к следующему письменному вопросу, размещенному в чате.
asking
Подскажите,
about
конкурсное
contest proposals
предложение в
for two
отношении
plots.
двух участков
Should they be
разрабатывать
developed
вместе
together
или
or
одновременно?
one
В данном случае
to be chosen
консультатор
as a
считает позволить себе
represent
акцентировать
as a
внимание,
contest
что в этом конкурсе нет
operator? Let me
номинации, нет
remind that
разделения
in
на
this
участки.
contest
В
there
данном
is
случае
both
обе
components are
составляющие
a part
являются
of
единым
one
решением.
single
Другой
solution.
конкурс
Our
делен
contest
именно на
is
два
announced for two
научно-технологических
site
района,
tech
и каждый
districts,
из них является
and both of
составной частью
them
вашего
are
конкурсного
part and parcel
предложения.
of your
Они
contest participation. They
неделимы.
are not divisible.
Следующий
Next
вопрос.
question:
Где
where
можно
can we find
найти
information
информацию
about
о
the first
первой
campus,
очереди
first stage of the
кампусе?
campus
Прошу
planning?
прокомментировать
May
Ирину.
Miss Irina Gaida comment on this?
Ирина Сергеевна.
Да.
If
Мне
I
кажется,
may,
если
maybe
позволите,
Kristina Raguzova would
пусть
take
Кристина
part in
Рагузова примет
responding to this
участие
question.
в ответе на этот
Okay,
вопрос.
let's
Значит, давайте Ирина Левина начнет,
Would
и Кристина
start, and then
продолжит, тогда
Christina would
слушаем.
Да,
continue.
конечно.
Да,
Speaking
коллеги.
about the
По поводу
first stage
тренировки первой
campus
очереди. У
planning,
нас
in the
в
invitation to
предложении об
participation
участии есть
booklet, we are having basic
базовая
information about
информация
first
о
stage. There
первой
is
очереди. Там есть
visualization for you to
визуализация, чтобы вы
understand
могли
the
понять
way that
примерно облик
project looks like.
вот этого проекта.
More detailed information about
Более
planning and
детальные
more
формулировки
documentation
и
about what
другая
the first
документация
phase will be
к оценке
provided to
первой
three
очереди будет
finalists.
передана трем финалистам уже после
Upon
завершения
completion of the
отбора заявок.
application
То есть на
selections,
данном этапе мы не
at
предусматриваем
this point, we are not looking to
точечный рассылок
be
этой информации.
providing more detailed information at this stage.
Кристина, передаю вам.
Мне
Christina,
кажется,
yours?
в таком случае все
Yes,
достаточно
I believe
исчерпывающе.
it's
Я видела, что
clear.
есть
I've
вопрос по
seen there is a
количеству
question about
проживающих,
the
да, это
how
опять же вопрос,
many
насколько
people
я
are staying there. Is
видела,
that
Сергей
correct,
прав.
Sergey? Yes, there is
Здесь
a
есть
clarification
сразу
here.
же уточнение.
Necessary
Да,
information
необходимая
about first
информация
stage,
по первой очереди
first phase of the
кампуса,
campus.
спрашивает наш
Where
потенциальный
is
участник.
that? Do you
Где
plan
она
to be
находится?
connecting
Планируется ли
first phase
связать
with phase two?
первую очередь
And
с
how
другой
many
история
students
студентов
can
размещается.
this
История
territory
сегодня
does
или
it house
потенциально.
today? And can
Да, могу
house potentially?
прокомментировать
I
во
can
второй
respond
части
to the
вопрос
second
по
question. First
вместимости.
phase is to
Первая
be
очередь отображает
providing
5450 мест к
5,450
размещению.
spaces
Sirius
campus,
кампус жилой
and the
пространства.
second
Вторая
phase is
очередь это 2600
2,600
проживающих. Да, это как раз вот
residents,
о чем
and
мы сегодня
together that
говорили.
would be
Общая сумма 8050
8,050
человек
people to be located on on
к
campus.
размещению.
Thank you very much. We are
Хорошо.
moving on
Переходим к
to the
следующему
next question.
вопросу. Конкурсное
Contest
предложение
proposal
подается
is being
документами
filed
на
in two
двух
languages,
языках:
Russian and
русском и
English. All
английском. Все
the
файлы
documents,
заявки
including
включают единый
registration
документ.
documents
Но
of
мы уже
the
отвечали на
entities,
этот вопрос, собственно.
we have been responding. You're of course
Безусловно, вы
translating
переводите смысловую часть ваших
all the
документов. Эти
meaningful
документы
part of
переводить
your
на английский
documents.
язык не нужно.
Registration
Если
documents,
вы
you don't
файлируете
have to
письменные
translate
документы,
them.
то
If you
переводите
file
их
them,
только
you
на
file
русском
them only
языке.
in Russian.
А
Whilst the
информация
content and
содержательного характера, она переводится, она подается на двух
information is being
языках. Ваше
translated, your
портфолио, ваше
portfolio,
эссе и так далее.
your
Поскольку,
essay,
обратите,
please
пожалуйста,
pay
внимание, что
attention that
экспертиза в этом
we are having an
конкурсе,
expert council
состоящая
as
из
well as
членов
jury
экспертных
members,
комитетов и членов жюри,
both of those
международная.
two bodies
И
are
в ней
international, not
представлены
just from
эксперты не
Russia, but
только из
from various
России, но
corners
и из
of the
самых
world. They
разных
would be
уголков мира.
studying your
Поэтому они
application,
будут изучать
some in
вашу
Russian, some in
работу
English,
как на русском,
and
так и на
that's for
английском языках.
them that
Именно для них
this
и нужен
bilingual
двухязычный
element of the
содержательный текст
content of
заявки.
the essence of your proposal is necessary. Next question: where
Следующий
can we
вопрос.
look at the
Где можно
project of the
ознакомиться с
water
проектом
climatic park to
водно-климатического
integrate it
парка,
into
чтобы
the
интегрировать
competition
его в
project that we are
успешный
providing?
проект?
Thank you, Sergey. The project of water climatic park project is now being developed. We cannot be offering it to you openly, but at first stage of the competition, we are looking forward to see your ideas that we can integrate into the project where we are working on, whilst at the second stage of the project for the finalists, we would of course share more additional information about that will be developed. But once again, we would like to see that your proposals and the solutions, final solutions, would be very well integrated with what we are doing. Thank you very much. And the next question seems to be flowing out of the environmental principles of the territory because it's related to garbage removal. Could you please comment how products and goods are being brought to territory and how the garbage is being removed from the territory? Additional questions: are you having garbage sorting as of now? Have you addressed waste processing questions of the territory? Let me respond. Partially sorting and processing waste are partially addressed. We are now at greater stages for we are working at a greater solution to make sure that we are having easy access to garbage collection. So as to assure more sustainable solutions, in that sense, we would be very happy if contestants would provide ideas here. And I'd like to add here that contest documentation is speaking about smart city technology that should be integrated into the projects. And in here, we would be expecting some vacuum garbage removal, intellectual management of various electricity, CCTV, face recognition, behavioral respective air quality monitoring system, and of course, a safe and secure routes. Vacuum garbage removal system is missing at the moment, but we would expect that new projects would be actually having them.
I would like to scroll a few of the questions because one of the questions related to the water climatic water park, natural and climate water park. Are there any agreed on boundaries of this park? Yes, I would like to respond on that. Currently, they are being agreed upon, and at this very stage, we cannot provide it in the open access, but I would like to highlight that as for the competition plots, we are designing that they have certain specific boundaries of this territory, and it implies certain expectations from the point of view of improvement of this territory. Thank you very much. And the next question, what are the results? The first and the second stages, I mean the financial ones. That's quite a wide question. I think the whole presentation was focused on what are the results that we expect to get. As part of the stage one, the result is to selecting 3 finalists. From the perspective of your participation, it's submitting your application. Is for the first stage, you will provide this digital application which has the information about your team, consortium, different experts and specialists that you have, as well as any documentation about your company if needed. And as a must have the 3 portfolio projects, essay and visualization, sketches as well. And after submitting this application, you're waiting for the response because the first stage will be over when we'll consider all the applications and define 3 finalists. And for the stage 2, the result is a master plan, and each team should prepare the master plan of the territory, defend it, and then choosing the winner. And the final part of this competition program of the whole competition. And each finalist will sign a contract. According to this contract, there is a certain procedure for paying the prize money and the IP, intellectual property, as in all the competitions. The next question, can you show the detailed review of the current and all the planning types of land usage surrounding the territory? In this information will help us better understand the context. As for the second question, can you provide the base map? And as I get it, the base map, we have it. And Irina Sergeyevna, I would like to ask you to comment on that. So as for these competitive
Да, коллеги,
plots,
по поводу участков,
we have the
в этих
application. In
соглашениях к
this
участию есть
documentation, we
предложение
have all the numbers,
подробное описание кадастровых номеров, с
is
помощью
in which you
которых вы
can see the
можете,
surrounding
грубо говоря,
territory and all the
увидеть
adjacent
изображение и
plots
посмотреть все
and the
прилегающие
type of
вторичные
the
участки
land
и
use there,
землепользование в том числе.
as well as the
Вот.
certain
И опять же, для
restrictions and
нас это
limitations that you may
информация
have.
об
The more
ограничениях.
detailed information
Вот. Более подробная
is not
информация на
available,
этом
and
этапе
so we
мы
don't imply it, but what
не
is
предусматриваем,
interesting for
но
you is available in
если
open
все
access,
интересует, есть в открытом доступе, есть
and some sources we can
этапы,
find
чтобы найти
in the open
для
source.
кадастровых участков.
So the invitation, description, all the accompanying documents is 100 pages long, and you can find it, all the information about it, like cadastral number and so on. Sorry, inaudible, some technical hiccup.
Буклет приглашения к участию расположен в первом поле сайта нашего конкурса, и в русской версии опубликован русский вариант документа, русскоязычный вариант документа, в англоязычной версии сайта англоязычный. Изучите, пожалуйста, этот документ. Очень многие ответы на ваши вопросы расположены именно на страницах этого буклета. Следующий вопрос. Нам кажется, что довольно сложно связать проектирование первой и второй фазы научно-технологического кампуса.
Can you show the technical plan of the first phase? Thank you very much for your support. Can we get this information?
Возможно ли, собственно, получить эту
Irina,
информацию?
maybe you can respond to this question?
Ирина, может быть, ты
Well,
начнешь
partially
ответы?
you
Да,
answered
наверное,
this
частично
question
уже
related to phase one of the
ответила вот
campus.
касаемо первой и
And
второй
again, in
больших
his
кампусов. В
invitation
принципе,
letter, we
также
have
в
the
предложении к
designation
участию у
where
нас
it is
есть
located. I mean, the
задача, где он
boundaries
располагается на первой и второй
that where
странице,
we will
в которых
be
он
building
будет
and is being built actually, and
располагая
it
уже
has a
строиться.
visualization
И также,
for the
повторюсь,
stage
там
of
есть
submitting the
визуализация
application.
на
And
этапе
this
подачи
information seems
заявок.
like excessive,
Вот
like
этой информации
enough
достаточно
in
для
order
того,
to
чтобы
provide a high
принято
quality
в
solution. And then
качестве
after
верного
you
решения
qualify to the
предложить.
final
А далее
stage,
уже
we'll
после
give more
фазы
detailed
2
information, which
мы
allow you
будем более
to
подробную
provide some
информацию
detailed solution
привести,
and
если чем-то
offer.
дополнительное.
Christine, can you comment on? Let's move on to the next question.
Да,
Can
перейдем
you
к следующему вопросу.
change the
Можно ли
consortium
изменить
lineup
изменения в
if you
консорциуме
qualify to
при
the stage 2?
прохождении во второй
Definitely, if
этап
you
конкурса? Да,
qualified
безусловно.
to the
Если
stage
вы
2,
прошли
you're a
конкурс,
finalist and you
вас
understand that
выбрали,
you
и
need
вы в
to
финале, и вы понимаете, что
improve
вам
and
необходимо
add some
определенный
experts on the
топовый
lineup of your
специализированный
consortium,
консорциум,
you can
вы,
get together with a
безусловно,
bigger number
можете
of experts, attract
объединиться с большим
some
количеством экспертов,
specialists to make
привлечь в
your
свою
team
команду,
stronger
усилить
in
вашу
certain types
экспертизу
of skills and
и,
competence. That's
возможно,
very
во
important
втором этапе.
condition that the leader of the
Но важным
consortium
условием
and the key
является лидер
participants,
консорциума.
thanks to which
Ведь
you
вы,
qualify to the
участники,
stage 2, cannot
благодаря
leave the
которым вы
team.
прошли во
They
второй
should be
этап,
still
и
on the team.
могут удержать
Otherwise,
команду во втором этапе.
it was
Расчет
it would cause the
это было бы
interest
очень
conflict
интересно,
because
ведь
actually these
в данном
experts on the
случае
team that
прошли
was
именно
planned
те
initially,
эксперты и та
and if
команда,
you
которая была
see the
заявлена.
changes of the
Если у них
major
изменится
members, then
основная
there'll be big
составляющая,
question
то
mark
станет
how can
вопрос,
it
а каким образом
qualify to
тогда
the
вы
final
будете в
stage.
финале.
So leader
Поэтому
consortium
всегда
should be
обращайте
preserved,
внимание, что лидер
and there might
консорциума
be some
может
slight
появляться,
changes in the
в
team
составе
lineup,
команды
and
могут
you
быть
inform about
изменения.
these
Об
changes to
этих
the operator
изменениях
of the
вы уведомляете
competition. You agree
оператора конкурса,
upon them.
согласовываете их
You
и
might expand the
рассчитываете
consortium. You can change
консорциум.
the
Вы
internal
можете
structure of the
изменить
consortium.
внутреннюю
It's up
структуру
to you.
консорциума.
It's for your internal
Это ваше
tools and maneuvers for achieving the result.
индивидуальное
For us,
результата.
it's
Для
very
нас
important to
главное
get the
получить
product,
тот
to get the
продукт,
final
который
result that
соответствует
meets the
техническому заданию,
criteria and
ключевым
requirements,
принципам и
and
критериям
which is
задания,
aligned with the big mission
большой
client in
миссии,
this
которая заявлена в
competition and
договоре
for the whole
и цели
territory, which
аудитории,
is initiated
необходимой
this
для
competition as such.
проведения этой конкурсной процедуры.
Dear colleagues, I can see that we
Уважаемые коллеги,
answered to all the
вижу, что мы
questions that
исчерпали
we received
все
in the chat. Maybe there
вопросы.
will be some
Возможно,
more. And
появятся
I ask you
дополнительные.
use the
Я
opportunity
призываю вас,
of the
пожалуйста,
asking the
используйте
question
возможности
via the chat
задать
or through the open mic.
необходимые
And
вопросы
we
сейчас.
have 1 month
Участники
left
вебинара
before
остается
we
месяц до
stop
окончания
receiving the
приема
applications on
заявок.
30th of May. It is
30
the final
мая,
day.
последний день,
If something hasn't
ежесекундно
been
осталось
mentioned,
не
articulated,
проговоренным,
pronounced,
не
announced, but you need
использованным, не проявленным
really need it
доступным вам
in
для
your
вас,
work,
пожалуйста, вы
take this
можете
opportunity to ask
использовать
the
эту
question. I
возможность и
can see
задать
that
вопрос.
Boris, Andrei
Вижу,
raised the
что
hand. Please, Boris, the floor is
Андрей
yours. You can
поднял руку.
turn on the mic,
Борис,
your
пожалуйста, вы
camera,
можете включить камеру,
and
микрофон и
after introducing
официально
yourself, ask your
присоединиться в
question.
ваше бюро, задать ваш вопрос.
Alex. Good afternoon. Unfortunately, I cannot turn on the video, but I will take this opportunity of asking the question. My name is Boris. We are planning to apply for this competition as a consortium. Irina Gritskevich is asking the question. Is the limit of the written questions is over? I would like to take this opportunity and to double this question. Can we change the consortium while qualifying to the stage 2 or some next stages? Well, I have just answered this question in all the details. You can expand and update your consortium, but you cannot change the leader or the key experts in your consortium that ensure your success of qualifying to the stage 2, thanks to their expertise, knowledge, and wisdom, because you place the information about the members of your consortium. So if you want to restructure your consortium operation, or if you want update, you can do that, but it's not possible to deteriorate and to reduce the quality and the level of your consortium. We want to get the expert lineup, thanks to which the jury members select your team and your consortium, and will let them qualify into the stage 2. Will it be enough? Did I answer your question, or do you need any additional things? I see that you say thank you in the chat, so that was quite enough. Dear participants of our webinar, is there anybody else who's got more questions? You can place it in our chat or use the function of audio question using the open mic function. We'll be happy to answer you and to assist you in all your endeavors related to the participation in the competition. So we're really interested in you submitting the best application, best adjusted, fine-tuned, represent your consortium and your lineup team in a best way. Last call. If you have any questions, it's the high time. 1 more minute where you can type it or you text it and send it in the chat or raise the hand. Hopefully your talents, ambitions, potential, capacity, best ideas manifested in this competition. Sirius territory is a territory of inspiration, unique site of post-Olympic legacy, which allow you to touch on this amazing environment, well known around the globe, in order to offer new ideas for further development where you can implement and tap the brightest, most ambitious ideas and untap the capacity and values that you have that are translated in the federal territory of Sirius. I see there is a question. Good afternoon. Can we put in the portfolio some scientific experience in development of innovative centers? Such experience might be represented in your portfolio, taking into account the specificity and the device of the cluster that we are discussing. It will be very valuable for your expertise, so take this opportunity. Are there any more questions? I would like to remind you that this competition is an open one, and I would like to ask my colleagues to put on the slides information about all the communication channels, the website, the hotline, the email address. Please take advantage of this information and these communication channels. The whole team, the team of the Federal Territory of Sirius, they bring our efforts together in order to provide the best opportunities possible, so you can come join this competition and offer your ideas. We publish all the information, all the presentations, and all the sessions and video recordings. We will be limitlessly opened and provided in this competition. I see there is a question. Could you please specify about affiliating one of the consortium members? Maybe we'll conduct this research for Sirius in the end of the summer. Is there a conflict of interests? Should we in some way notify the organizers of the competition? Definitely, there is such a practice. about the exposing of the conflict of the interests that is described in detail on our website. You can request it if you send in a message. So separately, we can consider the situation before your consortium member hasn't yet signed a legal contract on provision of any kind of services or kind of any solutions to the federal territory. There is no such conflict of interest. If during the competition you have such an incident, you have to immediately inform the operator of the competition, send the form about the exposure or disclosure. It has specific legal form. It's very important to take into account all the factors, as well as if your expert is a consortium leader or not. Thus, is he a decision maker and defines the lineup of your team? What is his role, consultative, development, legal, financial, or any other? All these factors matter. So if you consider this situation a case, we have to consider it definitely. We'll consider it. Where we can get the video of this session on the official website of the SiriusMasterplan.com that you can see on a slide. You can take advantage of the scanning QR code in the left bottom corner. You can go to the video section, and we publish and upload all the videos there. So take this section, take this opportunity. All the events as part of the competition are published there. So you can watch them both in Russian and English languages. So are there any more questions? If there are no more questions, I would like to wholeheartedly to thank our experts, all the representatives of the Sirius territory, and here the webinar for development of the master plan of the science and technology centers of the Sirius is over. And if you have any more questions, please take advantage of the this phone number +74951234553, as well as the email info@SiriusMasterplan.com. You'll get a chance to have all the excessive information before the end of the stage one. We'd like to thank all the participants and see you soon. Thank you.